Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Easy Learning Tutor. Today we are going to understand an important theory by Cathy Caruth from her book Unclaimed Experience. So the topic is trauma and the possibility of history. Uh, I think this sounds difficult, but don't worry, I will explain it in a very easy and simple way. Okay, so the topic is Cathy the topic is trauma and the possibility of history. Okay. Now let me explain it simply to make you more clear to understand each and everything. Okay. So Cathy Caruth's book Unclaimed Experience talks about trauma, how it affects the human mind, and how it changes our understanding of history. Actually, she explains the trauma is not like normal pain or sadness. Trauma happens when a person experiences something very shocking, sudden, or frightening, mm, such as a war or an accident or violence, abuse, or the sudden death of someone close. Okay. So, at that moment, the mind is not ready to understand what is happening, isn't it? You might also feel the same, or you have that kind of experience as well. So, the event is too strong and too fast, so the brain fails to properly take it in. So, because of this, the experience is not fully understood or accepted at the time it happens. This is why Cathy Caruth calls trauma an unclaimed experience. The word unclaimed means that the mind does not fully accept or process the experience. The body may survive the event, but the mind does not fully record it as normal memory. Mm. So instead of staying in the past, the trauma remains active inside the person. After some time, some days, some years, the trauma returns again and again in the form of nightmares or flashbacks, fear, or repeated thoughts. A person may suddenly remember the event without wanting to, or feel the same fear again even when there is no danger. This shows that trauma is delayed, meaning is it is not truly experienced when it happens, but later. Okay. So Kathy Carruth also explains the trauma breaks normal memory. Normal memories are clear and organized, but traumatic memories are broken and confusing. The person may not remember the event clearly, but they continue to feel its emotional pain. So, this is why trauma victims often repeat the same stories or feeling again and again. Trauma is not something that ends, it keeps returning because it was never fully understood in the first place. So, another important idea is Carruth's theory is that trauma cannot be fully explained using words. Language comes from understanding, but trauma happens without understanding. Because of this, people who suffer trauma often struggle to explain what happened to them. Their stories may feel incomplete, confusing, or repetitive. Sometimes trauma is shown through silence, pauses, or broken speech. I hope you are understanding. So, this is why trauma literature and trauma stories do not follow a clear or straight pattern. Kathy Caruth then connects trauma to history. She says that traditional history usually talks about dates, events, wars, leaders, or victories. but it often ignores the real pain and suffering of ordinary people. History tries to be clear and factual, but trauma is unclear and emotional. Because of this, trauma does not easily fit into history books. However, trauma is very important because it shows the hidden truth of history, the pain, loss, fear, and silence that official history often forgets or ignores. According to Caruth, trauma gives us a new way to understand history. History is not only about what happened; it is also about how people suffered and lived through those events. Trauma makes history more human. It reminds us that behind every historical event, there are real people who experienced deep pain. Trauma also acts as a call to listen. Even though trauma cannot speak clearly, it still asks others to listen carefully and take responsibilities. By listening to trauma, we learn from the past and understand why violence should not be repeated. So, in simple words, Kathy Caruth teaches us that trauma is a painful experience that the mind cannot fully understand. When it happens, it returns later and keeps repeating because it was never properly processed. Trauma cannot be easily explained in words, but it still carries an important truth. When we include trauma in history, history becomes more honest and meaningful. Trauma helps us remember suffering, understand and the past deeply and learn lesson for the future. Okay, so I hope you understand. Thank you for watching. Keep watching, keep loving and keep supporting. Please subscribe my channel Easy Learning Tutor.